Welcome back, A Group. You're watching math video number 6 with Mrs. Livesay. In this video, we'll be reading and answering many examples of real-life questions. And that's why math can be so useful for us. We use it in everyday life when we're trying to answer questions. Let's start with this first one. Cameron and Rory decide to make beautiful paper hearts for Mrs. Stafford. Cameron makes 9 purple hearts, and Rory makes 9 red hearts. How many hearts will Mrs. Stafford get from the girls? First, we want to ask, what kind of question is it? Do we need to add or subtract? Since we want to know how many hearts will Mrs. Stafford get from both the girls, we know that we should add. It's a good idea to really use highlighter or your pencil and circle the important information in the problem, kind of like I just did. I circled the 2 numbers, and I also can underline maybe these type of things that tell me, well, since the problem tells me from both girls, I know to add. So we know we're going to add 9 plus 9. And that will tell us how many hearts in all Mrs. Stafford will get. What do you notice about 9 plus 9? It's a special kind of number sentence. Tell me out loud. I'm giving you a hint right now. You got it. It's a doubles fact. So who remembers what 9 plus 9 is? Good job, 18. And that's the answer to our heart question. Mrs. Stafford, and I'm not going to write it just to save time, but I'll say it out loud. Mrs. Stafford will get 18 paper hearts from the girls. Good job, team. Go ahead and pause the video and fill out number 1 with this information. And I'll move on. Now let's read number 2. Dylan and Max have 16 toy cars. 8 of the cars are red. The rest are yellow. How many toy cars are yellow? Let's circle our important information. We know is 16 and 8, the numbers they gave us. And we know the rest is important. And how many toy cars are yellow? That's what we want to know, yellow. Let's start by doing a number bond. And since we know we have 16 in all, that would be our whole. Our other part would be 8. And this is the one we're trying to figure out. We know that Dylan and Max have 16 in all, toy cars. 8 of them are what color? These are all red. And we want to know how many of them are yellow. Whoops. One too many L's. How many are yellow? That's our question. So what could we do? What number sentence could we create to help us solve this question? You got it, subtraction. We could start with our 16, our whole. Subtract the 8 red cars in order to find out how many yellow cars there are. 16 minus 8 equals blank. Before I even start doing the problem, I noticed this has a certain fact I could use. What type? Another doubles fact. These double facts are very useful, aren't they? The doubles fact I would use is what? You got it. 8 plus 8 equals 16. My whole up here is 16. Here's one part 8. This other part we know would be 8. So we solved that problem just by looking at it and seeing the doubles fact. So the 16 right here, you tell me out loud, what did this represent? Good. It represented the toy cars that Dylan and Max had to start with. I could put D for Dylan and M for Max. That was all the ones that Dylan and Max had to start with. This number represented how many red cars. And this number, of course, told us how many yellow cars. So go ahead and press pause and fill in this information for number 2. Okay, for number 3, let's read our real world problem together. Starting with PETA. PETA gave away 9 pieces of candy to Davis. PETA still has 8 pieces of candy. How many pieces of candy did PETA have at first? So let's get a pencil and circle our important information we know is 9 and 8. And the question, how many pieces of candy did PETA have at first? Also important, gave away. That's going to right away tell us subtraction. So we don't know what she had at first, which would be the whole part. We don't know. That's what we're going to find out. But we do know that she gave away 9 to Davis, and she was still left with 8. So this is what she gave to Davis, and this is what she was left with. So if we do something with these two numbers, we should be able to get the whole. What do we need to do here? That's right. We actually will add those two parts together to answer our question. So we'll say 9 plus 8 equals blank. Now to add those two up, you might notice something about these two numbers. It's a doubles plus 1 fact. It's really close to a doubles fact. Which one? Start with the lower one. 8 plus 8. It's really close to 8 plus 8. And we've been practicing our doubles facts a lot. Who remembers what 8 plus 8 is? Good, 16. Since it's doubles plus 1, we need to add one more onto 16. So 16 plus one more is what? Good, 17. So 17 is our answer to this real world problem. Let's go over. PETA gave away these 9 pieces to Davis, and she still had 8 pieces left. This is what she still had. And how many pieces of candy did she have at first? PETA had how many? 17 pieces of candy to start with. 17 pieces to start with. I'll put at first, a little bit quicker. She had 17 pieces at first. So if we were to fill in a number bond, we'd stick a little 17 in here. And that's it for number 3. So press pause and fill in the info for number 3. Here's number 5. Let's read it together. Lucas has 13 Legos on the playground. He gives away 5 to Julian. How many Legos is Lucas left with? Let's circle our important information. 13 gives away 5. How many Legos is Lucas left with? How many did we start with? Or how many did Lucas start with? That's right, he started with 13. That would be our whole. Then we know what information after that. We know that he gives away 5 to Julian. So that's what we have right here. There we go. How many Legos is Lucas left with? So that's what we're wondering right here. Seems like we could easily put this into a number sentence. Let's try. We started with 13. We subtract 5. since he gave away to Julian, and that will equal the number we're looking for, how many Lucas will have left. To solve this problem, I take a look and I don't notice it has a doubles fact. It's not a doubles plus 1 fact. I could either draw a picture or just solve this problem. I know I could easily solve it, so I'm going to go ahead and solve it. Solving it, now I'm going to do my different type of number bond where I want to pull out and separate the 10s and the 1s. So on this one, it's important I know to bring out my 10 and my 3. Okay? Both of these number bonds with the 13 as the whole are correct, but we can use our number bonds in different ways depending on how we need it to help us. So in this case right here, we want to pull out our 10s and our 1s. We have one group of 10 and we have 3 1s. Now we want to subtract our 1s, always starting with the bottom number, which is this one. So we do 3 minus 5. 3 minus 5. And I want you to pay close attention to this one. 3 minus 5. We don't normally tell you to put fingers up in the air, but try it again this time. Put three fingers up in the air. Now, can you take away 5? No, that won't work. So when it doesn't work, just switch the spots of the parts. And what that really means is instead of borrowing from the 1s, we're going to be borrowing from the 10s. So now instead of borrowing from the 3 here, we're going to go to our group of 10 that we have, and we're going to borrow from that. So we're going to be doing 10 minus 5. 10 minus 5. You know that. 10 minus 5 is 5. Add your notes down here like always, and your plus symbol, so you don't forget the rest. Let's add them together. 5 plus 3 equals what? You got it, 8. And that is solving our problem. So we want to write a complete sentence to solve our problem. Lucas is left with 8 Legos. We did it. Good job, team. So I want you to finish number 6 and number 7 on your own. Write down all your notes, and we'll go over them in class. Good job, team.